Following up a video covering the last half of the game with a video covering the last half of another, it's back to Dragon Quest II Luminaries of the Legendary Line. When we left off last time, I had 3 of the 5 sacred sigils, the Sun Sigil, Water Sigil and Soul Sigil. I start off at Tantagel Castle and get on my boat. I head east outside of Alefgard and south. My first battle of the video gets Princessa to level 14. I keep going south along the edge of the continent until I see a shrine in the middle of some mountains. Before I can reach it, I get 2 new enemies. There's the debut of the Saber Cat and an Ashtertium, a stronger variant of a tulip. I enter the shrine and take the stairs down. It's another priest waiting for the next scion of Erdrick. He's been taking care of Erdrick's helm for me. I have Alan equip it right away. That's all for this place and I zoom to Zahan. There was a temple filled with damage tiles in the back that I brute forced my way through by healing a lot. I first make my way to the western door in the back to reach a chest containing the Subtle Shuttle. I'll get to its use when it's relevant. After resting at the inn, I make my way to the eastern door. This chest contains another prayer ring. After healing once again, I zoom to Burrowell. I get in my ship and head northwest along the island's edge. I keep going until I see a river going north into the continent. 2 new enemies at once during this trek, Pterodactyl and Headhunter. Not too much of a threat with my current equipment. Headhunters do become a pain when there's more than one though, as Princessa is killed and Princeton is left at 1 HP. Winning this fight gets Alan to level 21 though. I can't be bothered to backtrack to heal, so I use my Yggdrasil leaf to revive Princessa. At the first fork in this river, I go east, thinking I found a new town, but there's mountains blocking the path. So I go west and then north between the sets of mountains. I get a mud mannequin variant here, a magic marionette. This also turns out to be a dead end, so I turn back, but not before getting the third kind of bad boon, the brainy bad boon, named because this version of them can cast magic. Winning this fight gets Princeton to level 19. I zoom back to Burrowell to heal, and after that I make sure to get another Yggdrasil leaf. This time I keep moving along the continent's edge past the river I just tried. It turns out I was just wanting the next river along. This one ends at another fork, but I choose to get off to the west. I get moving north and east through these mountains. I get my second metal slime, but although it doesn't run at first, no one is strong enough to damage it. As I move south a little, I can see the town, but it's still walled in. I have to keep moving east, south a little, and west to finally get around to it. But first I get my 4th version of the shaman, the sorcerer. And right before I enter the town is my first orc chieftain, another semi-regular making its first appearance. After that one I can finally enter the town. This is Sluice, a town mentioned last time and a place I happen to own a floodgate key for. It's also where the weaver Don Calico lives, also mentioned last time. One guy tells me that a fragment of the moon is hidden at the top of the Tower of the Moon. A woman I talk to then tells me that said tower is to the south of town. And this next one is the second woman in the game with a missing husband, but this one is just drunk instead of lost at sea. I unlock the gold door in the middle of town and go down the stairs to meet Don Calico. In exchange for giving him the Celestial Skein and Subtle Shuttle, he offers to weave me a dress, but he still needs time to make it, so I have to wait a bit. Or, to speed it up, I zoom to Meadenhall to save and then quit out of the game. I reload my save and zoom back to Sluice to find that he's still not done. Apparently this is how it's supposed to be done, so I don't know what I did wrong. I decide to check out the weapon shop and buy Princeton a 6,000 gold magic armour for 7 extra defence. I decide then to grind outside of town. This is where I meet my first Bloodhand, another series regular making its debut. These are another enemy that can call more of themselves as reinforcements. 2 battles get Alan to level 22, the very next fight sees Princessa reach level 15, and the one after that gets Princeton to level 20. About 5 more minutes of fighting passes and now Don Calico has finished the dress. He gives me the flowing dress. All 3 can wear this, but it goes to Princessa since it's her best armour. It also grants a 50% resistance to fire attacks and swamp and magma tiles. Outside I get back to grinding a little more. It takes 5 minutes before Alan reaches level 23. I now have the 8,000 gold to buy him a Dragon's Bane, which is a 15-point increase in attack over Erdrick's sword. Back in town I go to the northeastern edge and walk around the outside of the item shop and inn. It takes an eternity thanks to this dog deciding to walk in front of me and keep blocking my path. But eventually, I see a locked door in the northwest and go down the stairs behind it. It leads to the hole for the floodgate key. Opening the floodgate makes the river path on the other side of the mountains flood, so now I can take my ship down it. But first I have the long walk back to my ship. But not just yet, as I zoom to Durkendor, the town I only visited last time to add to my zoom list. I go all the way through the corridors to the north, west and south and through the gold door to the other side of the weapon shop where I can rob his chests of a divine dagger and a tectonic plate. I give it to Alan for a huge 22 defense increase over his full plate armour. I enter the centre of the castle to see the king with 2 bunny girls at his side, but I ignore them in favour of selling the weapon shop owner the divine dagger I stole from him as he watched. I talk to the king, who offers me a reward for entertaining him in the arena. Of course I accept, and I have to battle another new enemy, a striking Sabercat. It's dead in a turn and Princeton reaches level 21. He learns Safe Passage, which temporarily lets me walk over damage tiles. He's so impressed that he just gives me the Moon Sigil, just one more to go now. He'll also let me save now like a proper king. I zoom back to Tantagel and head south on the boat, past the rest of the continent and continuing south until I reach an island with just a tower on it. This is actually a lighthouse. The guard outside tells me that the sigils aren't actually physical objects, but signifiers of the soul, which is why they thankfully don't take up any of my inventory space. I go through the door and the first floor is the biggest. I start by going all the way east and all the way north, then all the way west and all the way south. Then it's east a little, north a little, east a bit more, north a bit more, all the way east and then north until I can enter this area with 4 sets of stairs. First I go north to a chest that isn't shown on this map. After that it's south to take the southeastern set of stairs. My first fight here gets Princessa to level 16 and teaches her the very useful Full Heal spell. The chest contains 469 gold. Sounds like this went quick, but the floor took 6.5 minutes thanks to the encounter rate. The section of the second floor it takes me to is just going south a little to some stairs to the third floor. So is the third floor, except I'm just travelling east to the fourth, and then northeast to the fifth. But first I get my first Dead Knot encounter. I wasn't expecting anything new, as all other encounters until now were old enemies I'd long outclassed. These stairs to the fifth floor just take me to a single chest containing a long irrelevant chain sickle. Time to backtrack to the first floor. My first fight on the way back gets Princeton to level 22. Then the very next fight after that one gets Alan to level 24. Back to the first floor, I just go west from those stairs to take the set in the southwest corner. For this first part of the floor I have to go west, south and then east to the stairs back to the third. I go west and north past the stairs, then east and north all the way, through the door to reach the next set of stairs. While on this floor, Princessa reaches level 17. Back on the fourth floor I just go north a little to the fifth, and then south a little to the sixth, and then north a little more to the seventh, and then south a little more to the eighth floor. This is the top floor where there's a huge torch in the middle and a soldier in the south. But first I get my first Dragonfly, a stronger variant of the Dragonfry. The soldier says that from here he's been keeping watch over the Hall of Hargon in Renderak for years. He says that the area is a large plateau that looms over everywhere else and that no one has ever managed to get inside. Well, that's all this route teaches me. Time to take those stairs I skipped back on the third floor. I go south and east to a chest and then west to some stairs. The chest contains 715 gold. Back on the fifth floor, I go east a little, south a little, and all the way east back to the sixth floor. And on the sixth floor I just go north a little to end up back on the fifth. From there I just go west a little to a chest containing a Seed of Life that I give to Princessa. I then backtrack to the fourth floor. I go north, east and north all the way to a fork. I take the fork west to some stairs back up to the fifth floor. Then it's all the way east and back up to the sixth floor. Then it's south and west out of a little room and then northwest to the stairs to floor 7. As I head east from the stairs I see a gremlin move south into another room. In said room is an old man who tells me he'll lead me to the Sacred Sigil. He moves west and down the stairs in the southwest corner of the floor. As I follow him, Alan reaches level 25. Back on the sixth floor, the old man continues to the east, going down the stairs on that end. Another level up as I approach those stairs, Princeton to level 23. He learns Sizzle. Back on the fifth floor, the man moves north down even more stairs. And on the fourth floor, he goes south and west down some more. Onto the third floor, he moves east and north along the edge of the building and down yet more stairs. Back on the second floor, I finally reach a chest, but it's empty. Of course, the old man was that gremlin all along, obviously. I have to face 4 gremlins, but by this point they aren't a threat anymore. Princessa reaches level 18 and learns evac herself. The gremlins were carrying the final sigil though, the Star Sigil. That's all 5 of them. After that, I evac out to heal. After saving, I get back to grinding outside of Sluice. After about 11 minutes of it, Alan reaches level 26. 2 minutes after that, Princeton reaches level 24. 2 more minutes later and I have 16,000 gold to return to Burrowell and buy an Aurora Blade for Alan, which is a 15-point increase over the Dragon's Bane. Then it's back to the grind. It takes 2 more battles for Princessa to reach level 19. 8 minutes later, there's no level up, so I just decide to go south across this new canal to the Tower of the Moon. But not to explore just yet, for the stronger enemies with more XP. I get stronger Mummy Boy variant, the Mummy, and new enemy Hydra in my first fight. Then my next fight has a stronger Corpse Corporal, the Ghoul. It takes 3 fights in here for Alan to reach level 27. Then the next fight gets Princeton to level 25, teaching him Kabuff. A few minutes later on my way back from an in-stay, Princessa reaches level 20. 10 minutes after that, Alan reaches level 28. 2 minutes later, Princeton reaches level 26. It then takes another 5 minutes grinding to reach the 21,500 gold for a power shield to Princeton. a 14-point defense upgrade over his leather shield and the strongest shield he can use. Now it's time to take on the Tower of the Moon properly. I go south and then west into the corner room for a chest before I then take the stairs in that same room. The chest contains a Seed of Strength that goes straight to Alan. Then in my first fight here, Princessa reaches level 21 and learns Kaboom, an incredibly powerful spell that uses up a lot of MP. I first go south and east into the centre of the room and north for a chest. Then just slightly west of the centre is some stairs to a small part of floor 3 for a second chest. Then it's down to the southeast corner and down the stairs to a small part of floor 2 for a third, before I finally take the stairs in the centre room to floor 3 proper. The first chest contains a Seed of Magic that goes to Princessa. The second one on floor 3 gets me 1,226 gold. The third chest back on the first floor gets me a Seed of Resilience that also goes to Princessa. My next fight after that gets me a powered up Rector, a Wacholite. On to floor 3, and despite the size of what is available to me, the only way to go is north to floor 4. From the start I go south to 2 chests, then back north and east to the 5th floor. The chests are 270 gold and another Seed of Resilience that goes to Princessa. On floor 5 I go up the stairs in the middle. On floor 6 it's just west around to more stairs, and on the 7th floor is a chest. But first some gargoyles, stronger hawkmen, get in my way. The chest is yet another prayer ring. Back to the 5th floor, I go through the locked doors and down the stairs to the 4th floor, then northwest a little back to the 3rd, then north a bit more to the 2nd floor, and finally north a tiny bit to the 1st floor for a rambling old man and this place's final chest, the Moon Shard. And that's all for this place. After healing I set off southwest from Durkandor in my ship and find a cave on a small island surrounded by rocks blocking my entry. By using the Moon Shard, I control the tides to hide those rocks and let me reach the next dungeon, the Sea Cave. There are a lot of magma tiles I have to walk over in here, so I'll be casting Safe Passage a lot. I start by going west along the magma and north to go east to the first chest. Then back at the start I go south and west most of the way until I can go north to a second chest. Then it's all the way south to the stairs down to level 2. My first fight here gets Alan to level 29. The first chest gives me 1,218 gold. On my way to the next one, the first part stop of the smog shows up, the Miasma. A couple of fights later, Princeton reaches level 27 and learns Thwack, a spell that targets an entire group of enemies and instantly kills them if it connects. The second chest gets me a Seed of Magic that goes to Princessa. That's all before I go down to the second level. I go south to reach the first chest, and then I go west some more, south through a gap, west a bit more, then all the way south. I go east and north through the first gap to the second chest. After that I go all the way to the northwest corner for some stairs down to the 3rd level. The first chest turns out to be a trap that poisons Alan, what a dick. And right after I get the series debut of the Liquid Metal Slime. I manage to hit this one once before it runs away. Then my next fight is another new type making its first appearance, the Trevel. Just before I reach the second chest, Princessa reaches level 22, and the second chest is another prayer ring. Nearby there's a guard who tells me I need to have visited the Shrine of the Great Conflagration, which is inside this cave, before I'm able to reach Hargon. Down to the 3rd level. I unlock the door and go all the way west, grabbing 2 chests on the way. I then go all the way south, around to the east and all the way north to the 3rd chest. Then it's a bit south to one of the staircases going down. The first chest was another trap that poisons Alan. The second chest is a Seed of Strength that goes to Alan as usual. The third chest is a suit of magic armour. Despite it being a 5-point defense loss, I give it to Alan for its resistance against spells, then it's down to level 4. I simply go northwest to some stairs to level 5. I forgot that chest, but I'll get it later. My first fight on this floor gets Alan to level 30, once the level cap of the first game, now it's only 60% of the way to the cap. My next fight is against the stronger Deadnought, the Chasmonaut, and that's all for now. On level 5 I just follow the path south, east and north to this shrine. Another new enemy type makes its debut, the Hunter Mech, though the Killing Machine is the more well-known version. The fight after this gets Princeton to level 28. The shrine is the one mentioned earlier, but there's 2 Wachollites in the way. They're no stronger than the dozens I've already killed on my way here. Once they're dead, I reach the shrine to find the false idol. After that, I leave. After healing, I once again get grinding outside of Sluice. It takes 3 fights for Princessa to reach level 23, and 10 minutes later, Alan reaches level 31. For some reason, I then waste 21 grand without thinking buying Princessa a power shield that she can't equip, not even noticing when the game says I can't equip it. North of Durkandor, I check out that one shrine that takes up an entire tiny island. It's a few small rooms with stairs taking me deeper and deeper under the sea. Once I reach the bottom, I stand in the middle of the room and all 5 sigils start to glow. The party hear the voice of Rubis, the goddess of the land. She senses the bloodline of Erdrick in the party and says she must fulfill a promise she made to him ages ago. She gives me the Eye of Rubis, which will help me see past illusions. With this, I next return to Gwaelin's Gate and unlock that gold door at the south end. I take the teleportal inside to be warped to a shrine. This places me inside the northern half of the southwestern continent, a place completely cut off by mountains. Teleportals are the only way in here. I get moving south, facing a regular orc and a new Cobra Kaiser. I eventually turn east and cross a bridge before going southwest across another. I find a lake with a new town in the middle. This is Beron, the final new town we can visit in the game. I was clearly intended to visit here much earlier, as I get hints from NPCs about finding Durkandar and the Yggdrasil leaf. I stop in the inn, and as the screen fades back in, Princeton is still in the bed. He can't move and believes he has been hit with the Curse of Hargon. I don't actually know whether or not I could actually leave him and finish the game without him, but I use my Yggdrasil leaf to cure him. This event only happens once, and despite him only being out of my party for about 20 seconds, he still gets the new party member jingle. I get myself a new Yggdrasil leaf before I do anything else. There's a temple in the northwest of town with some damage tiles between it and a teleportal. It leads to a room with some stairs to an old man saying that to the west is a path to Renderak, but south of the teleportal is a hidden exit that reveals this building is alone surrounded by poison swamp, with just a gremlin that's afraid of me. I follow the old man's advice, cast safe passage and get walking west. This puts me in the mountainous area north of Burrowell. There's a flame here that recognises that I'm ready to take on Hargon. It tells me to get through the marshes and hold up the idol. I have to stand in the top middle of this poison swamp and use the false idol to make the entrance to the cave to Renderak rise from the ground. My first fight here is against the stronger Hydra, the Eyelasher. Princeton reaches level 29 when I kill these and learns the Kazing spell, which revives a dead party member. All I do is go north a tiny bit and southeast down these stairs right next to the entrance. In this basement I go west for a chest and take the stairs in the middle of the room back to the first floor. First fight here is against another zombie, the Walking Corpse. The chest is Seed of Strength for Alan. Back on the first floor, I go a little bit west and south to the second floor. At first I can only see this one room. In this maze I go east to loop back to the other side and keep going west until I can take the third north to more stairs going up. This is a big floor, but for now I just go southeast to some stairs, taking a quick detour north on the way for a chest. My first fight is against a stronger orc, the Orc King. On the way to the chest, Princessa reaches level 24. The chest is just a tombola ticket. Next floor is just a few steps east to some more stairs, which then take me to a chest containing Erdrick's armour. It gives Alan 33 more defence and immunity to damage tiles. Just him though, the other two will still take damage. Back to the third floor. I backtrack all the way to the middle of the floor and then go all the way west and up some stairs. I get a new Headhunter variant, the Berserker, but that's all. Those stairs once again lead to a tiny room with more stairs to a chest containing a Madcap. This is very useful, it has the MP cost of spells, so it goes to Princessa. Back to the third floor and back to the middle. I go north all the way with a quick detour south for this room's other chest. At the fork I then go southwest to more stairs. The chest contains 1,282 coins and the rest of that journey has nothing else happen. Another small room to more stairs. This next room has me go all the way south and all the way west for 2 chests. My first fight gets 2 new enemies, the return of the Green Dragon and a stronger version of the Pterodactyl, the Pteranodactyl. This is the first battle in the game to get me more than 1000 XP. The chests contain 564 coins and Thanatos' shield. My next fight gets Alan to level 32, to the third floor once again. I go all the way to the stairs in the northeast corner. Once again it leads to another small room with more stairs to another. It then leads to a large room with nothing else but 2 more sets of stairs. But a few steps north has me fall through a hole in the floor into a big featureless square room. I just start heading southwest, facing my first Hargonaut on the way and getting Princeton to level 30. I walk into another hole in the southwest corner to get dropped in front of the Thunderbolt Blade. It's Alan's strongest weapon, the strongest weapon in the game overall, and can cast Whoosh when used as an item. Equipping it is a 25 point attack increase over the Aurora Blade. Said Aurora Blade goes to Princeton for a 30 point increase over Erdrick's sword, which I somehow missed giving him. This room is a dead end though, so I have to evac out and start again, but not before healing up of course. On the way back through, Princessa reaches level 25. I actually did manage to defeat a liquid metal slime here for over 10,000 XP. Alan reaches level 33, Princeton reaches level 31, and Princessa reaches level 26 just from this battle. If that wasn't good enough, it also dropped a Madcap so Princeton can also have his MP costs halved. Back to the 4th floor, I take this odd path to the southeast corner stairs so I can avoid the holes in the ground. It leads to this massive room I can only see a little of at a time. So for this room, this is the path I take to the stairs. I'm not reading out all the directions since it'd just sound like gibberish after a point, just look at it. I get my first killing machine on this floor. Alan reaches level 34 here as well, along with Princessa to level 27 the same fight, with her learning Kazing. And close to the end, Princeton reaches level 32. The stairs at the end take me outside. I'm finally on the Renderak Plateau. I'm not safe just yet, there's still some strong enemies to deal with as I go northeast, like the Cyclops, another regular making its first appearance. Although these are more like the Ochu in Final Fantasy, where they were in one early game, disappeared for years, and then suddenly were in every single game after a certain point. At this point I'm just having Princessa throwing kabooms around. Next is a terrifying enemy, the Frostburn. These have access to Thwack, and if they cast it, that can just kill your entire party and you can't do anything about it. I continue northeast across 2 bridges and find this shrine. This is a very good shrine. The priest not only saves the game for me, but also fully heals the entire party for free. It can also be zoomed to, meaning as long as I have the MP for it, I can have a free full heal whenever I want. This is also the final zoom location and my list is complete. I decided to get grinding outside the shrine since I had that free heal. After only just meeting my first Cyclops, I already get a stronger variant, the Gigantes. The next fight is against my first Archdemon, the first enemy so far to break 200 HP. These are also a threat as they also have access to Kaboom. My next new enemy here is the Batmandrill. These don't seem a huge threat until one casts Kamikaze and wipes out my entire party. Good thing dying just sends me 10 steps away. My next battle after that loss gets Alan to level 35 and the fight after gets Princessa to level 28. North of the shrine I get heading west along the northern mountains. As the mountains turn south I continue to follow them. During this, Princeton reaches level 33. Eventually the path turns east, at which point I can go north to reach the Hall of Hargon. But first, Alan reaches level 36 and Princessa reaches level 29. I'm not doing the entire thing now, I'm just after the 2 treasures in here before I begin my final grind. As I enter, it's suddenly a copy of Midenhall Castle. The people inside are trying to talk me out of killing the allegedly benevolent Hargon. In the throne room, the king has supposedly given the kingdom to Hargon and is now spending his days being pampered by bunny girls, including replacing the Chancellor with one. The king's claims of being mistaken about Hargon aren't believable in the slightest, and I use the Eye of Rubis to dispel the illusion and reveal the castle's true state, where lost souls are being made to act out the roles of Midenhall's residents. Talking to the souls representing the 2 bunny girls with the king will reveal them to be Batmandrills, which I easily kill. Behind the throne, I go through the locked door and north and west over these damage tiles to the first chest. Then I backtrack and go east and north to reach the second chest. The first chest is a cursed item, a devil's tail, so I don't equip it. The second is a whaler's mail, which I also don't equip for the same reason. That's all for now, and I zoom back to the shrine to begin my final grind before I take on Hargon. I won't point out all the level ups from now on, only any important ones. 5 minutes into my grind, Princessa hits level 30, which teaches her the Hocus Pocus spell, which casts a random spell when used. 3 minutes later, Princeton reaching level 35 teaches him Kamikaze, which I will never make him use. Enemies here can also drop more cursed items, which sell for quite a bit of money. The next thing of note is 40 minutes later when Princessa reaches level 36 and learns Click, which will unlock any door without the need for any of the keys. Both of my magic users now know all of their available spells. 48 more minutes later, I hit the money cap of 99,999 gold. And the next milestone is 2 hours and 50 minutes later when Alan and Princeton become the first of the 3 to reach level 50 in the same fight, the highest possible in this game. And then the very next fight gets Princessa to level 52. So that was around 4.5 hours total. The stat gains in the final few levels are also much better than what you get during the rest of the game. Just a couple loose ends. I never checked out the Quagmire Cave east of Tantagel. No point in the end, it's just a straight line south. The entire section where the dragon had Princess Gwaelin captive is gone now. In the Inner Sanctum in Moonbrook Castle, there was a seed of magic on the floor I missed. It goes to Princessa. I also got that chest I missed in the Sea Cave, which contained a banishing bell. Now to take on the rest of the Hall of Hargon. In the middle of the damaged tiles in the north of the first room is a spot for me to stand and hold out the false idol once again to transport me to the next room. Here I just go north and west into this room where the stairs to the third floor are. For this floor I go north and west, then south all the way, west all the way, and north all the way for the stairs to the fourth floor. Imagine getting 2 liquid metal slimes at once when you can't level up any further. For the fourth floor I go east all the way, south all the way, west all the way, north and then east again to more stairs. I get my first new enemy on this floor, another stronger Cyclops, the Atlas. For floor 5 I go west until I can go north into a room with the next stairs. This floor gets me a fight with a stronger Batmandrill, a Pazuzu. Floor 6 is just a straight line to the east, don't need to map it. In front of the stairs I face a Belial, a stronger Archmage. Like the others, it isn't any threat at these levels. He only lasts longer because he likes to full heal himself. The Atlas, Pazuzu and Belial were all one-time fixed encounters, and with them dead I zoom back to the shrine so that I can save their deaths. It takes no time at all to get back and take those stairs. They lead to the top floor of the castle. I just have to go west across a few more damaged tiles and then it's north to find Hargon sitting on his throne. He's furious that we would dare interrupt his prayer and starts a fight. If there's one thing about Hargon I'm not a fan of, it's how close he looks to the first game's Dragon Lord. Hargon has 460 HP, and for this battle I have both Alan and Princeton attack while Princessa defends. He starts off with Kaboom, meaning I can now put Princessa straight to healing duty. When he does a normal physical attack, he attacks twice in one turn. But he isn't too threatening, as by doing over a combined 120 damage a turn, he doesn't last very long. With his last words, he tells the party that they haven't saved the world just yet. He completes his prayer to Malroth, the Lord of Destruction, by offering his own body. I get a chance to heal, and as I move south, the party is trapped in a ring of fire and the floor collapses around that fire to make sure we stay put. Then the final battle against Malroth begins. As is fitting for the final boss, Malroth has by far the most HP in the game with 1750. I start by having Princessa sap him and Princeton buff the party while Alan attacks. After that I have Princeton attack and save his MP for healing while Princessa casts Kaboom whenever possible. No need to conserve MP when it's the final battle, just throw everything out. Malroth has his Blistering Flames attack that hits the entire party, even doing over 100 damage to Princeton. His normal physical attack isn't much of a problem, so it's always good when he spends his turn on that. Although he does manage to kill Alan by double hitting him. Good thing both of the others can cast Kazing to revive him. Princessa's full heal is also a massive help. It means I can have Princeton heal the one who has more HP with mid heal while Princessa tends to the one closest to death. It does take a while thanks to only having one attacker most turns, but Alan is a good attacker and manages to finish Malroth off in the end. With Malroth gone, the party hear a voice telling them that peace will be restored to the world. It will then pray to the goddess for his descendants to continue to have a good life, meaning this is either the voice of Erdrick or the first game's hero. We leave the Hall of Hargon, which collapses into rubble. We can now freely explore the world without any more random encounters and see how all the towns are faring in this new peacetime. We can't save after Malroth's death though. The priest at the Shrine of Renderak will now be able to move on and do literally anything else now that he has fulfilled his duty. For some highlights, we can return to Moonbrook and have Princessa tell her father that he is avenged. His spirit can finally pass on as she swears to rebuild the castle. In Zahan, Luke the amnesiac in Borrowell has finally regained his memory and returned to his wife. And the old man who waited for us at Gwaelin's Gate can now finally retire and spend his time with his brother from the shrine south of Meadenhall. To finish this game we have to return to Meadenhall, where the lower floors are mostly deserted. Everyone is waiting for us upstairs in the throne room. The king says that Alan has done Erdrick proud and that he himself is proud to have such a son. So proud that he is stepping down and letting Alan take the throne. After accepting, he calls forth the other two and tells them that their companionship should serve to maintain the peace in the world. And then the series overture plays as Meadenhall throws a little fireworks show. We get told that the party's names will live on forever as their story will continue to be told through the generations. And while this is not the final Dragon Quest game to take place in this world, it is the furthest along in this world's timeline that we'll see, so we can assume things stayed pretty good after this. I like Dragon Quest II more than the first game. It increased the scope, had slightly more story going on, lasted longer without getting boring, and had more diverse locations. Although I will say I absolutely understand how someone could prefer the first game. There was a charm to this one guy against this small world to explore, but I had more fun having more to do with a party of more than one. If I do have one small criticism, it's that I feel the multiple party members weren't handled quite as well as they could be. It was pretty much just splitting the first game's hero into 3 functions instead of coming up with new things for our 2 new party members. But I still had a good time and I'm looking forward to seeing how the next game turns out, since it always seemed like the big ones were Dragon Quest 3, 5 and 8, and 3 is the only one of those I've never touched. And maybe by the next time I look at this series, the most recent versions of the games from 4 to 9 could be ported to modern consoles I can actually record instead of being locked to handhelds that I can't. Please?